What's up, guys? How y'all doing? It looks like the storm system passed up here, so I won't have so much choppy video. All right. I gotta say this like a robot. Please like, share, subscribe. Okay. Even if you don't want to share it, please throw a like on it. And if you haven't subscribed already, please do subscribe. It helps the channel. I appreciate it. Right now, I'm doing this for free, not a fee, for my passion, being very passionate. Whoa, live mishap. Them spilling water on myself here. I usually don't go live this early in the morning, but the Pfizer vaccine that I took had me sweating. Had me sweating in the middle of the night the last couple of days. So I woke up drenched in sweat, and I had to get up, take a shower and all that stuff. So then after I got up, took a shower, took a sip of homemade iced tea. I couldn't sleep. So I started going back and forth. And then, I started going on my channel, answering comments that I didn't answer before. And I want to give a quick shout out to Jam Project, who he was one of the people that responded to me, like 4 o'clock in the morning when I was just responding to comments that I missed or didn't see. Like I said, if I don't get to your comment right away, I will eventually get to it, even if I just throw a like or a heart on it or something like that. And, if it's a generic comment, really, that's being repeated, I might not respond to it. But if you're saying something like from an original perspective, whether I disagree with it or I agree with it, I'm going to respond. And we can go back and forth or not. It's up to you. I don't take it personal. I enjoy it. And once again, I want to shout out Jam Project for going back and forth with me, 4 o'clock in the morning. Very respectful, though. I respect his opinion. We slightly disagreed on something, but that's the nature of sports debate. You're not going to agree on everything. Otherwise, everything would be dull and boring, right? It's like if you have friends. If you agree with every single thing that comes out of your friend's mouth, something is wrong. Somebody's being fake, somebody's being phony, and you should really pay attention to that relationship because something is awry, right? It's okay to disagree. That lets you know that you have an intelligent brain and you have independent thought. You don't just because I feel like I'm 100% right about something and you don't, doesn't make you less intelligent or whatever because I don't agree with you. That means you are your own man or woman, you're your own person, and you have your own opinions, okay? And you have your own belief systems and so on and so forth. So once again, like I said, this is an interactive channel. I try to interact with everybody that comments, all my subscribers that comment and reach out. I try to talk to. And once again, I want to shout out Jam Project for getting me motivated to get up, do this live, because me and him went back and forth for a little bit in the comment section, like 4 o'clock in the morning. Jam is not the only one. It's not like I'm saying Jam is a weirdo or nothing like that. I've debated 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning with several of my subscribers. I'll wake up, check the channel, see a comment, respond to it. They'll still be awake. They'll respond to it. Next thing you know, we got a debate going 3:30 in the morning. I love it. I love it. This is what this is about. I love it. So I want to run down the topics today. If you haven't seen in the title, I didn't put them all in the title because you can't fit but so much in a YouTube title. Once again, if you're coming in, please like, share, subscribe. We're going to speak about Floyd Mayweather. And he's in the news recently for not wanting to take a picture with a man that had painted fingernails. We're going to speak about the Wnba champion Chicago Sky and their championship parade. Once again, I did another live. I don't know forgot which day it was, but I asked about the Wnba. Do you care? And this is a continuation of that narrative. Okay. I know I speak a lot about Tom Brady, but listen, we're watching a living legend. You know, I wish I could have been able to do YouTube like this in the 80s with Magic, Larry, Michael, Isaiah Thomas, Dr. J, Moses Malone, Kareem. You know, all these guys were going at it in the 80s. I wish I would have been able to do this live commentary and speak on them. But now that I'm older and I understand that you have to appreciate greatness in the present, you know, because when they retire, you know, you're not going to have that anymore. We don't get to watch Peyton Manning anymore. We don't get to watch Brett Favre, Warren Moon, Randall Cunningham. I'm speaking of NFL quarterbacks. Joe Montana, Troy Aikman, Jim Kelly, so on and so forth. Terry Bradshaw, Joe Namath. I could go on and on. Michael Vick. You know, we're not going to see these guys again. They're retired or deceased, or whatever the case may be. So while Tom Brady's alive and kicking and he's a living legend, right in our face doing legendary things, LeBron James is a living legend. You know, as much crap as people talk about LeBron, they're going to miss him when he's gone. Don't you miss Michael Jordan? You know, some people love to hate on Michael. Most people revere him and respect him as the GOAT, or at least in the GOAT debate. But he's no longer here. We just have highlights and film. Wouldn't you have liked to see Wilt Chamberlain play now? But you can't. You only can look at film. So I know I speak a lot about Tom Brady and LeBron James and a few other people, but you know what? They're living legends, still playing, still in their prime, unbelievably in their advanced age, especially Tom Brady at the age of 44 years old in NFL, playing at a MVP level. Incredible. So why wouldn't I speak on Tom Brady? And what I'm going to speak on Tom Brady is about his dogs chasing cars comment that he did when he went on Eli and Peyton Manning's show, speaking about defensive players. Some may have deemed that to be a racist comment. I don't know Tom Brady to be that way as far as being a racist, you know. So we're going to get into that discussion. We're going to talk about Mike Tomlin going off on the media when they keep suggesting that he's available or considering a head coaching job at the college USC or the University of Southern California, USC Trojans. And he went off on the media because things like that can affect his job. You know, if the media starts talking and stuff enough, maybe his employers, the owners, the Rooney family of the Pittsburgh Steelers, will start to second guess him and saying, is he taking interviews or is he taking phone calls from universities? Is he planning on walking away? Because the Pittsburgh Steelers have only had 3 head coaches in the entire history. So you're talking about stability of a franchise. And I spoke about how to build a franchise in my last lives, referring to the New York Giants. I did that video, or I did that portion of the video from one of my subscribers, Aaron, who's a lifelong Giants fan. So I thought I'd break down the current Giants and the current Giants situation and status, and go about and show how I would go about rebuilding the Giants franchise. So I'm also going to, and because of you, excuse me, Jam Project, right? Because of you, I'm thinking you might be a musician, Jam Project. I'll ask you in the comment section. Matter of fact, I'm gonna do it right now because I'm getting older and I may forget. So this is how I do it. Don't think I don't appreciate all of you, man, that interact with me, because for you to take the time and the energy out of your day to comment to me or respond to me or get in the live and speak, you know, or watch my videos, I thank you, because you could be doing anything with your time. So I'm just going to ask Jam Project here. Is he a musician? Because that name just dawned on me. I'm asking Jam Project, is he a musician? With that name, Jam Project. Okay. See, even when I start making money from this YouTube right now, like I said, I'm rocking for free, not a fee. Even when the money starts coming in, I'm still going to interact. Now, I know once the channel grows, there's going to be hundreds of comments on every video. I pay attention to the bigger YouTubers and what happens with their channel. I've actually followed some of their growth, and they're not able to get to everybody just because there's so many comments, so many views. As the channel goes along, trust me, I'm going to try to answer everybody, get to everybody. Once I get to the point where I start making money doing this, I'll even hire somebody to respond to people and, on my behalf that I can't get to. I really want to keep this interactive. I'm going to be one YouTuber that is going to be accessible to you. Even accessible to you for advice, different things like that. I was an alcohol and drug counselor. I'm a life coach. I'm a father. I'm a parent. So I'm very knowledgeable, have a lot of years of experience. So on my other channel, Rant Social, that's why I would have people definitely write to me, or when I provide a number, call in with any issues they might have. So I generally enjoy interacting with the public here. I'm going to speak about Magic Johnson's GOAT status. And this is why I want to say, this is why Jam Project put a battery in my back to get up. Because me and him was speaking about Larry Bird, and then I threw in Magic Johnson, and we were talking about Michael Jordan and that whole comparison. So not enough. I did a video. I started my YouTube career in January, and one of the first videos I did was Larry Bird versus Discrimination. Now, a lot of you in the comment section think just because I don't agree with you with certain things that you say about Larry Bird that I may be hating on him, but no. I started off my YouTube career bigging Larry Bird up, speaking about how great he was, and he was never mentioned in these GOAT debates on major networks, ESPN, First Take, Skip and Shannon, FS1, all the shows that are on those sports networks, including NBA TV, right? But now I'm finding that not enough respect is being put on Magic Johnson's name. Because I spoke about Larry Bird, a lot of you guys jumped the gun and said, he was the greatest player ever, the greatest player of the 80s, best player of all time, GOAT, yada. Okay, I respect it. Everybody has their opinion. But now I have to stop. You guys know to follow the channel. Magic Johnson brought me to basketball. I saw a Laker game and I was hooked. That was it. I went outside even on the playground. I was trying to throw behind the back passes and do everything Magic was doing, but I didn't have the hand size to control the ball like him. So, I was turning the ball over a lot, but I was doing every kind of spin move, post up, baby hook. I patterned my game after Magic, and it was for a reason. Magic was spectacular. Not only was he great to watch, one of the greatest shows ever in basketball was that Los Angeles Laker a Showtime team. Okay, they called him Showtime for a reason, baby. He was called Magic Johnson for a reason. You want to call a player Magic, it doesn't matter what sport he's in. If a person is deemed magic, what does that mean? They're outer worldly. They have so much skill and charisma, and their aura is so great and big that people just look at them and say, wow, that's magic, because they have no other way to describe what they're seeing. And that was Magic Johnson. We're going to speak on that. I might show some Magic Johnson highlights. And lastly, I want to speak on, I might butcher his name, right? I got Giannis Antetokounmpo's name down. Give me a like for that, right? Khamzat Chimaev. Khamzat Chimaev is an up-and-coming welterweight, 170 pounds fighter in the UFC. And he has a great story coming from Chechnya, his family in a war-torn Chechnya country, dirt poor, um, 6 brothers and sisters, excuse me. His father went off to Russia to work and make money, and his mother had to hold down the whole family in a war-torn country where they didn't have no money. You know, sometimes she didn't even eat so her children could eat. And he came from that. Him and his brother, or his brother first moved to his older brother moved to Sweden, then brought the rest of the family from Chechnya to Sweden. And that's where, well, in Chechnya, he said that they were always practicing combat sambo, wrestling. That was part of the culture. And then he went to Sweden and eventually got into MMA, right? Because he didn't have Swedish status as a citizen, so he couldn't go to the Olympic Games as a wrestler. You know, so people that he beat on the wrestling mat and everything else got to go to Olympics, and some of them even won a gold medal, and he beat them all in Sweden, but he couldn't get citizenship fast enough. He still doesn't have citizenship, being a citizen of Sweden, so he couldn't go to the Olympic Games representing Sweden. So Khamzat Chimaev has a great story. He's an up-and-coming fighter at 170 pounds, MMA for the UFC brand. And I believe one day he will get a title. Right now, the champion is a mother, Kamaru Usman, Nigerian descent lineage fighter, but he based out of Texas, right? He was raised in Texas, went to college here, but Kamaru Usman at 170 pounds is no joke, because he was always a consummate wrestler. That was his strength. He was a college wrestler, but his striking and stand-up game has become legendary now. And right now, he's the man to beat in the 170-pound division, and I don't really see him losing anytime soon. But Khamzat Chimaev is only about 27 years old. Kamaru Usman is about 33. So let's see what happens in the next couple of years. But I believe Chimaev will be a champion one day. And I'm going to pose the question: is he the next Habib Nurmagomedov? Give me a like for that. Is he the next Khabib? And if you follow MMA and you follow the UFC, you know who Khabib is. The champion who walked away from the UFC because his father died, and he made a promise to his mother that he wouldn't fight anymore once his father passed. So his last match was against Justin Gaethje. He submitted Justin Gaethje very easily, dominated him in the fight, and Justin Gaethje's a hell of a fighter. So Khabib was heads and above anybody else at the lightweight division, which is 155 pounds. Khabib was just so dominant, even dominated Conor McGregor, even though Conor McGregor had lost his fire because he had made reportedly $80 million fighting Floyd Mayweather in a boxing match. Okay. Wow, what a segue, right? I didn't even do that on purpose. Let's get into the first topic, because we're already about 20 minutes in, and I know a lot of you guys got ADHD, so bear with me. Floyd Mayweather, recently in the news. Okay, hold on one second before I get into Floyd. Jam Project responded to me. Yes, he is a musician. All right, I won't put his business out here like that. I'll just say that. Let me respond to Jam Project really quick, folks. Bear with me, but I want to give him a timely response. Okay, I responded to Jam Project. Once again, I want to shout you out, Jam Project, for putting the battery in my back with this debate to get myself up out of bed because I wasn't going to sleep anyway. I normally don't come on live this early in the morning, but there are times that I can't sleep. All right. Floyd Mayweather, first topic of the live. Recently got into quote unquote hot water with the media because he refused to take a picture with a man that had painted fingernails. Now, a lot of you are going to say, well, what's his problem? He's a homophobe, yada, 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 yada. Right? He's a homophobe. Let me find some footage of Floyd maybe even speaking on it or someone else in the media speaking on it just to give you an idea. There we go. This is a short 1-minute video of this, right? Floyd Mayweather refuses to take picture with kid because he has painted fingernails. Let's see if this is even worthy of showing you guys, okay? Some of these YouTubers are self-absorbed and don't get right to it. Okay. This looks good, legitimate here. Yeah, bro. That's the kid who wanted the picture, and he had painted fingernails.
You guys saw that first, bro. Floyd doesn't want to take a photo of me because my nails are painted. You got painted nails. You can't. We're not taking a real guy with no painted nails. Hey. Yeah, bro. Floyd's a
And let me see if I can find a better picture of the kid. Okay. Oh, come on, man. Where's the picture of the kid? Let me just go to Google and find a picture of the kid. Okay. This is the kid there, guys. Try and get as clear as possible for you guys. Hopefully this camera clears up. But there's the kid there. Oh, there it is. Okay. There's the kid there with the painted nails. And I don't really want to put him on blast. I don't know that kid like that, but he's put himself on blast, obviously. Right? Here's my take on this. And then I'm going to speak a little bit about Floyd as a boxer while I'm on this subject. Floyd Mayweather, if you don't know, is one of the most decorated boxers of all time. He retired undefeated at 50-0. I think the 50th fight was the Conor McGregor fight, and some people think that's a bogus fight, but whatever. You're entitled to your opinion. Conor McGregor is a combat professional. He was a UFC two-division UFC champion at that point. And they throw hands in the UFC with smaller gloves. So way smaller gloves. So in other words, the punches are actually come harder in MMA than they do in boxing, because in boxing you're dealing with a heavily padded glove designed originally to protect the fighter's hands, so promoters could keep making money off the fighter. You know, the fighter can't win with broken hands. So early on in boxing, it was first start off bare knuckle. Then they started wrapping their hands with a little light wrap. And then eventually it turned into a glove. And the glove wasn't to stop the fighters from getting hurt or punched in the face. It was designed to protect the fighter's hands so that he can fight again and make some more money for his manager promoter. All right, because a lot of this stuff was going on in slavery times. A lot of the fighters, now I know boxing has a rich history that's even in Europe and everything, but here in the States, slaves were getting pit against each other, okay? And the slave master, it was almost like dog fighting or cock fighting, you know, rooster fighting. All right. So anyway, Floyd Mayweather is highly decorated, retired, undefeated, even went on to fight a couple of exhibitions, the latest against the great famed YouTuber Logan Paul. And when I say great, I mean he's one of the biggest YouTubers out there. So obviously he's good at something to garner all of that attention. He has millions of subscribers. So I'm going to say the great Logan Paul. He's great at YouTube. That went to a decision. Floyd won, of course. Logan Paul really couldn't hit Floyd. Floyd is too skilled. Even though Logan Paul outweighed Floyd by about 45, 50 pounds. All right. Floyd beat him easy because Floyd is a master boxer. But now I want to get into the point of him not wanting to take a picture with this young man with painted fingernails. Floyd is one of the biggest names out there in the media, period, irregardless of sport, celebrity, whatever, right? And a lot of times celebrities will get set up. You know, they take pictures with people all the time, but with Instagram, Facebook, and all these social media outlets, people can twist pictures and turn it into a narrative that doesn't exist. It's happened already with quote unquote transgender Sydney Starr. Took a picture with comedian Michael Blackson. All of a sudden, Sydney Starr was out there putting a narrative out there that him and Michael Blackson had some type of intimate relationship. Michael Blackson quickly got online, shut it down, said, "I've never done anything homosexual in my life. This guy is lying. We've never done anything but take a picture." But you see how a picture then can be taken and twisted in the media. You create a narrative. Next thing you know, this guy is gay. Now, there's nothing wrong with being gay. I'm not saying there is, but there's something wrong with accusing somebody of being gay if they're not, because that has all kind of social connotations, you know what I mean, in that person's life. So Floyd probably took a look at the kid. Maybe he measured that he was gay. Maybe he assumed he was gay. He had the painted fingernails. And a lot of times when you take pictures, you either put an arm around the person or that person will say, hey, Floyd, can I take a picture with you? And put an arm around Floyd. Now, the next thing you know, the kid has his arm around Floyd, or Floyd has his arm around the kid. The kid is looking feminine as hell, if you saw. He looked like I'm just going to put it out there. He looked like a gay young man. Whether he was transgender or not, it looked like he was a gay young man. Whether he was or not, I don't know that to be a fact, but that's what he looked like. And that's what Floyd was going on. Now imagine Floyd putting his arm around the kid with a smile. The kid is dangling his painted fingernails, long hair, and feminine face. And next thing you know, Floyd is dating a young boy. Or Floyd is having intimate relationships with this young man. And once the media takes off with that, maybe even that young man will be like, oh, yeah, it's true. You don't know what people will do. Okay, maybe you try to then get a bag out of Floyd to come out and denounce it. Well, you know, Floyd, you give me $50,000, I'll come out and say it's not true. And believe me, this has happened before with celebrities. Now, celebrities, a lot of people get on their case or don't have respect for them or say, oh, they're lucky, they're making all these millions of dollars, or their life is so much better than mine. Not necessarily. Money and fame is not everything. Peace of mind, having loved ones around you, having real, genuine friends, having family that you care about and care about you, that's where life is. Not on the red carpet. That's an illusion. That's a facade. All these celebrities you see hanging together is because they have something in common. They know that the average person is fucking nuts. And once they see somebody on TV, they lose their mind. They put this person in a separate category. So this is what celebrities have to deal with. They can't even go to a restaurant, depending on their level of fame and notoriety, with their family or a date or anything, like the paparazzi, people looking. One thing to be looking, and then, you know, they'll be in mid slurp, slurping some spaghetti or something, food dripping down their mouth, and hear somebody come with a phone, a camera. Hey, can I get an autograph? Hey, and you're like, hey, okay, when can I turn this celebrity thing off now? And just sit in this restaurant, you know, or this concert or this movie theater or whatever, and just chill. Well, the answer is, unfortunately, never. Once you become a celebrity, you can never turn that button off. You know, the people turn you off when you just drop out of the limelight. You're not involved in anything. You don't have any news reports on you, no scandals, and people just forget about you because there's always somebody else to take your celebrity spot. So for the public, it'll be on to the next. So I just want to say I have no problem with what Floyd did. He read the situation. Now you understand he's a master boxer. What does that mean? He's a master of body language. Floyd sees everything. To be as great as Floyd was, you have to have great eyes. You have to see punches coming. You have to see the slightest twitch of a shoulder to know the jab is getting ready to pump out on you, right? You have to be aware of when a guy is going to faint, well, versus whether he's really throwing. And all of this, you're watching and dissecting in real time, right? It's highly in a boxing match, super fast, real time. Floyd almost has like a computer mind, and his eyes are super sharp. So he took one glance at this kid and said, "This kid is trouble. No, thank you." And I'm in agreement with Floyd, for that matter. Let me know what you think about that in the comment section. This is not a homophobic video. This is not a gay bashing video. Nobody's scared of nobody gay. A phobia means a fear. Okay. I have no fear of no gays. So I don't have a phobia. All right. So don't even go down that road. I agree with Floyd. Next, let me find some footage of the Chicago Sky, the WNBA, excuse me, the 2021 WNBA championship team, the Chicago Sky, and their parade, their championship parade. And a couple lives ago, I asked the question of the WNBA, do you care? Because they have such low ratings and their attendance numbers are suffering. And to be honest, the league was on the verge of being collapsing and being disbanded, but they keep getting a push from the NBA. They keep putting NBA players on television, endorsing the WNBA and saying how much they love the game and all of that. A lot of those guys are just being put up to that. PC commercials, just like the whole NBA cares thing. We see an NBA player in a hard hat and a hammer nailing one nail into a beam. Then they say, cut. NBA player take off all that shit, sign a few autographs, and leaves. You ain't fooling me, NBA. All that NBA cares nonsense. I've never seen y'all in the hood. Matter of fact, I ain't never seen y'all nowhere. I don't even know if that's real. NBA cares. Cares about what? Dollar bill, y'all. All right, so let me find this. Oh, let me respond to Jam Project really quickly, because I believe he said something else to me here. Okay, absolutely. Jam Project tells me, buy a base and do everything you want in this life. One ticket, one life, brother. 100%. I agree with you 100%. Jam Project. Thank you. Me and him was going back and forth. He ended up being a musician, and I was speaking about how I fantasize about playing the bass guitar. So he was basically giving me encouragement and motivation to go forward with it and do it. Absolutely, I agree with you. Let me just respond to him. See, me and him started out debating, and this is how a lot of these things go. It's beautiful. I end up debating someone, right? And we're disagreeing with fundamental, and then because we're respectful about it, guess what? We're adults. We're able to then have a normal conversation after we have spouted our pieces. We respect each other, and then the relationship turns into something else. That's happened with me in school, where I've actually gotten in fist fights with schoolmates and then became friends. You know, thankfully, we had enough sense to just do this and not stab and not do this, you know, and then we became friends afterward. Hit me in the comment section if you guys grew up with anybody you fought with, got into multiple fights with, and then became friends. All right, it's a beautiful thing. Just like the Friday movie, where Ice Cube's father, played by the late, I forgot his name right now, forgive me, who played his pops, the comedian who passed away recently. He said, what did he say? I'm paraphrasing, but he said, basically, when you get into beef, you use these because you can live to fight another day. But he said, once you go to that gun, that's it. It changes everything. It makes everything negative, and if you end up killing somebody, you can't take that back. But if you get into a little fisticuffs, a couple of bumps and bruises, you may be able to come back another day and see eye to eye with this person. Or maybe you won't even become best friends, but maybe y'all just have a mutual respect and y'all can agree to disagree and go y'all separate ways, but nobody dies. Oh, excuse me. I was responding. Let me find the WNBA parade footage here. Ooh, mouth getting dry, man. I had blood drawn too, man. I had some lab work done. So within 2 days, I had the vaccine and lab work done, man. I'm feeling a little dehydrated. Homemade iced tea. This ain't no rum or nothing like that. Okay. I only say that so I don't want y'all to think I'm sitting up here doing drunk lives. Bear with me while I find the Chicago Sky parade, and then I'll make my point. I don't know. See, it's still early in the morning. I'm looking on the wrong media platform. I'm supposed to be looking at YouTube, and I'm on Google. So bear with me, folks. Here we go. Nobody shows up to the WNBA championship parade. And then there's another one that says no fans. WNBA gets roasted after no one shows up to the Chicago Sky championship parade. Right? So let's go to this one first. Pennsylvania Shared Work Program can help employers who are facing the potential of layoffs. God damn, I keep forgetting pay YouTube to block these commercials. God damn it. Bear with me, folks. I just keep forgetting. It's slipping my mind. Look at that, folks. There's no one on the street. Now, of course, if this was a Chicago ghetto, I would understand. But this is more than likely downtown Chicago, where it's safe to walk around.
All right, guys. So as you can see there, that is tens of thousands.
All right. So I just wanted to show you that little highlight clip right there. Let's talk about it. The WNBA is on the verge of being dismantled, in my opinion. And I'm about to say something very controversial right now. I know this. But I'm going to phrase it in the most respectful way that I can. Not even men, boys, women, and girls. No one is interested. And when I say no one, I'm exaggerating slightly. Of course, they have some fans. But compared to the NBA, no one is interested in the WNBA and their product. If you have a championship team with a parade in your city, especially since the Bulls haven't won anything since 1998, right? Yeah, 1998. The Bulls have not won a championship in 23 years, something like that. That was Michael's number 2, ironically. You would think the Chicago fans would be happy for any championship, but no matter whether it was the NBA, the NHL, Major League Baseball, the Chicago Bears, they would be happy for any championship, right? Especially Bears fans. What else they have there? Chicago White Sox, Chicago Cubs. I don't really see them winning a whole bunch of World Series either. So you would think the fans would show out in droves. You don't have to worry about COVID. You're outdoors. It's not cold, extremely cold. Yeah, you know that Chicago cold as a mother. I watched a reporter throw up a cup of hot water and it froze before it hit the ground. That's why I said I ain't never setting foot in Chicago in the wintertime. And I'm only going downtown, excuse my French, away from the ghetto, away from the niggers. There's a difference between niggers and quote unquote African Americans. We're a different group. Don't get it twisted. Okay. There's real quote unquote black people who do what they got to do, right? Go to college, go to school, go to work, take care of their family, law-abiding, tax-paying citizens, and then you have niggers. Now, the niggers are the minorities of the minorities. There's only a handful of them, a handful of them, right? But they cause so much fucking chaos fueled by a Jewish-run music business that constantly pumps out genocide music to our community. It is what it is. Okay, so now for that, all that to say, you downtown, relatively nice weather, downtown Chicago. You have a team that just won a championship and nobody showed up for the parade. Now, was this a major holiday this past weekend where people were out doing different things? No. Was there any reason why the street should have been that empty for a parade of a championship team? No, I didn't see confetti. I didn't see people throwing, rolls of toilet paper stringing down from offices. None of that. That would go on during a normal parade for a championship team. Even if that championship team was in Omaha, Nebraska, you would have seen everything. Stringers, toilet paper, people in the streets going crazy. No diss to Omaha, Nebraska. I just think of Nebraska as being damn near in another country, just somewhere way across. I'm sorry, y'all. I think the same way about Wyoming, North and South Dakota, and Utah. Y'all just somewhere out there in the middle of America in the space somewhere. That's just New Yorker bias. Don't pay me no mind. So the WNBA, do you care? And you people are overwhelmingly saying no. You do not care. The league is being promoted, on the back of feminism. Joshua Glean checking in with me early in the morning. Okay, brother, thank you. I joked about you always coming in and disagreeing with me with something right off top, but I respect it. Joshua Glean says, WNBA is a joke. There you have it. And I'm going to take it a step further, Joshua. I'm going to say something really controversial. Neither men nor women seem to enjoy a lesbian basketball league. Bam, I said it, folks. I said it. That league, if it is not half lesbian or 60-40 lesbian to straight, because you even had a heterosexual WNBA player come out and speak out about the hazing going in the locker rooms and the pressure that these lesbian players be putting on the straight players. And I guess you would almost be like a prison type of situation where you got the dudes in there that have been locked up 25, 30 years. They don't know the difference between a man and a woman, and they just be putting pressure on the feminine men to fold. She almost made a statement like that about the WNBA, how these quote unquote bull dykes pushing up on her, making all type of sexual innuendos, and she was a straight woman that was into men. Okay, I'm just put it on the table. The game is not interesting to people. It's just not. It's a bunch of women that are not much to look at. This is why I featured the Lingerie Football League in my last live, because they had an idea of what would really work. A bunch of attractive women playing the game of football. Okay, the WNBA got a bunch of hard-looking chicks running up and down the court without much femininity, and we like women. We still like women to be feminine, even if you run track, you play ball, you're a construction worker. We like to see our women be feminine, and in the WNBA, they're just promoting, to me, feminism and bull dykeism and lesbianism, and are they skilled? Absolutely. Absolutely, they're skilled. Absolutely. But the game is just not explosive enough on TV for us to get into. People will support women's college basketball, but that's for a different reason. You have your whole school behind you, the whole alumni behind you. You have your friends, your classmates, parents, all coming to the game. So that's why the college women's game has such big support, because they have that whole system in place to support them. Okay. When it translates to a professionals, it doesn't work. You don't have that same support system. Now the game itself has to stand on its own merit. I'm talking about the women's basketball game. It has to stand on its own merits. And until you see, if women wasn't so busy trying to be equal to men, and this is the problem, and hear me out, if they wasn't so busy in society running around trying to be equal to men, they would have realized they should be playing with a smaller basketball, which I believe they do, and they should have lowered the goddamn rim for women. Even in schools all across the country, have those adjustable rims that you can bring it down a foot from 10 feet to 9. And so that way women grow up shooting on a shorter rim, learning to lay up the ball on a shorter rim, and maybe even dunking more. And this is what I'm getting at. Dunking the ball more on a shorter rim. Okay, I can't dunk anymore, folks. I'm 6'1", but right now I'm too heavy to dunk. But when I was younger, when I was 6'1", 200, 210, 215 pounds, I could dunk the ball with a running start. I'm not going to say I was going to dunk it on nobody or jump over nobody, but I could at least get up with two hands and throw it down. And I wasn't a great leaper either. I just was tall enough and athletic enough and had long enough arms to extend and get off a dunk. But the majority of women who play basketball cannot dunk. It would probably be about 98% cannot dunk the basketball. So therefore, that's a huge element of the game that's missing. And the only way that it can be corrected is lowering the rim. But you got all these feminist women that, you can't make concessions. Fuck, we're not weaker than you. We're not blah, 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 blah. The game would be way more interesting if the women's basketball rim was lowered a foot so that they can dunk more. I know they play with a slightly smaller basketball, but maybe they need to make it even smaller so they can grip it better, so they can do all the things that men in the NBA can do. And it would not be a slight to them. It would not be a diss to say, you know what, we should lower that rim a foot so that y'all can get some more dunks and the game could be more explosive and more exciting. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Let's move on. Let's move on to the Tom Brady story of him, speaking, having a casual conversation with the Manning brothers, Eli and Peyton, and him speaking about defensive players in the NFL being like dogs chasing cars. Oh, Tom. Now, you guys know how much I praise Tom Brady on this channel. Right, so y'all could never say that I'm a racist. I speak out against white players, anything like that, because I don't. Greatness is greatness. An athlete is an athlete. Okay, and I praise Tom Brady all the time, even unwillingly, because I'm not a Patriots fan. I'm a 49ers fan. Tom Brady comments about defense. Here we go. I don't want to show you Skip and Shannon because, they're a little long-winded. I'm going to try to find well, first of all, I'm going to show you the show that he made the statement on.
All right, let's here we go. We got Tom Brady is with us now. Tom, thanks for coming on. I know you've played in New England, you've played in some kind of bad weather, wind, rain. Did the game plan, did the strategy ever change when you played those games? Because you seem to win all of them.
Definitely not all of them. First of all, it's great to see you both at the same time, and I could never turn you two down. So the opportunity to come on and be with both you guys at the same time, it's like an automatic yes. So you guys are doing it.
All right, this was the show that Tom was on, right? Now I want to find the actual comment.
Can we create beauty technology that makes people's lives easier? We provide virtual try-on services, diagnosis, and personalization tools to make beauty more accessible. Create the beauty that moves the world.
Bear with me, folks.
In the defense,
okay. Now I'm going to actually play the actual statement by Tom Brady.
In the defense, would you give them any credit for being, smart enough to figure that out, jumping? No, I would. Believe me. Have you ever been in some of those defensive meeting rooms? You wonder why they play defense, and after about 2 minutes, you go, yep, they can never be an offensive player. So, defense is kind of like a dog chasing a car. Just get the guy with the ball. So, obviously we have a lot of great defensive players.
I'm sure Antoine.
Okay. Tom is now starting to let loose now. He's not under Bill Belichick anymore. So, Bill Belichick didn't play that. Bill Belichick ran his team like the military. You do not talk. You do not give the other team any motivation. You do not give anybody else any extra motivation. You keep everything close to the chest. You don't speak about injuries. You don't speak about the other team. You don't speak about the other coach. Nothing. We coming out here. We're going to study the hell out of this team. We're going to come out here and execute and win this game. That is it. So Bill Belichick was deemed as not a fun coach to play for because he's just an old school, no nonsense military style guy that wouldn't have allowed a comment like that. Or he would have pulled Brady to the side and say, hey, what the hell are you doing? And Bill Belichick is a defensive coordinator. Bill Belichick made his bones coaching defense. Okay, then he became a head coach, but he was still known, and New England Patriots was still known for always having a top 10 defense. And for Tom Brady, that won a whole lot of games because he had a good defense to make those kind of statements. I don't know if he was trolling. I don't know if he was saying that just to add a little spice, a little controversy to keep his name ringing or to get that name. Or I don't know if he was jabbing Bill Belichick. So I don't know Tom's motivation for what he said exactly. I definitely don't believe Tom Brady's racist. I don't believe it had any kind of racist tones behind. I just don't think that's Tom. Now, you can have your preferences and who you're more comfortable being around. So you see him in his private life hanging around quote unquote white people, quote unquote ex-white ex-teammates, current white teammates. It's nothing racist about that. You're comfortable who you're comfortable around culturally. Even the language is being used. Okay. You're more comfortable with a certain language than versus the other. All right. I'm going to give you an example. When I went to live in Maine or I went to live in any area that was majority white, culturally, we speak a little different. Our slangs are a little different. Our jokes are a little different. Our humor is a little different. I'm not saying one is worse than the other, but we're just a little different. So me being around all white people, especially in a country culture like Maine, when I went to the University of Maine, and I'm from New York, the heart of the New York City, biggest city in America, right? There's a cultural difference. I call that culture up there in Maine a pickup truck culture because that's all you see. Pickup trucks. You're actually seeing dudes wearing overalls in the city. We ain't seen nobody wearing no overalls ever. Like, that's a country thing. But Maine is up in the country. It's just up north. There's a difference. There's times where I felt uncomfortable, especially then, people like to throw jokes around. And of course, people throw racial jokes around. That's just the nature of life. But now when you're the only quote unquote black guy in a workplace full of white people, and you're going to hear some jokes. They're going to joke on you. They're going to be making jokes about they're not to say they're sitting around talking about making nigger jokes all day. No, that's not it. But they would make certain jokes or whatever. Now, as a quote unquote black guy, I had to make a decision. Either I was going to be sensitive and let words bother me, and then I'd just be fighting every day, or I could give it back to them, which I was obviously good at doing. I got a big mouth, right? Or I could ignore it. So I chose to do the two latter. Some of it I ignored. Some of it I gave it back to them, as long as it was friendly. If it was friendly banter, if I felt that it was somewhat malicious, as long as it wasn't directly at me, especially if I was on a job, it's about the paycheck. So you have to make a decision to keep your emotions in check for the paycheck, right? But I said all that to say, Tom Brady feels comfortable who's around. I don't have a problem with that. Tom Brady is starting to speak out more, starting to show more of his personality. Listen, you're not that successful this long. And obviously he's a fiery guy. If you ever watch him play on the sidelines, he don't take no shit. From defensive players, he'll chastise his own players if they're not doing what they're supposed to do on the sideline. He'll yell at coaches. I've seen him have shouting matches with offensive coordinators. You know, he'll go off on the sideline. And I even think he got away with a lot of childish behavior on the sideline just because he's Caucasian. They say, oh, Tom has the competitive fire. When it comes to somebody like Odell Beckham, they'll say, oh, he's immature. You see how that works? But anyway, back to his comments about sitting in defensive player meetings and basically saying that they have a lack of intelligence. They couldn't be offensive players because you have to study way more. You have to know way more to be an offensive player, yada, yada. Tom, you're full of shit on this one. You're full of shit, Tom. And I'm going to explain why. The rule changes have afforded you to play this long and be this successful. Let's keep it all the way 100. All the way 100. You cannot hit the quarterback basically goddamn from the waist up now. The only thing you can do is drag him down to the floor. I played defensive end in high school, okay, in the 90s, okay? The game is a pussy game now compared to what it once was. Excuse my French. You cannot hit the quarterback here, and the helmet definitely is a no-no. You can't even hit the quarterback below the knee now. So where the hell can you hit the quarterback? Somewhere around the belly button, from the belly button down to the top of the knee. Basically the quad thigh area. You know how good you have to be as a defensive end or defensive lineman or linebacker now when you pass rushing a quarterback? You know how you have to be a goddamn ballerina. You got to be a strong man, a fucking track star and a ballerina all at the same time to sack the quarterback now. Because once you fight and beat the offensive lineman and get to him, now you have to calculate exactly where you're going to hit this guy so you don't get a flag. Tom Brady, you've been allowed to sit up in that pocket protected by the league. And now you sitting up there talking this nonsense about defensive players, which is not true. All great defensive players study film. You have to. You have to study offensive tendencies. You have to know where they're going to be or where they're most likely to go based on which formation they're presenting to you. Why do you think you always have the middle linebacker or the captain of the defense, which is usually the middle linebacker or the safety, calling out signals to his other defenders, directing them and telling them where they think the ball is going or what play they're running? The hell are you talking about, Tom Brady? You and your boy Gronk spiking the ball. Gronk's all over TV, commercials, movies, right? Because he's been afforded the ability to go over the middle and catch touchdown after touchdown after touchdown without getting smacked like tight ends of the past. Okay, by safeties that were just waiting, linebackers that were just waiting for that tight end to come across the middle, catch that ball high so they could knock his block off. Why you think all of these astronomical passing numbers have just happened in recent years? You think the offensive players have gotten so much better in the past 15 years, the past 10 years, that all of a sudden, every game they're throwing for 300 yards. You had an offensive explosion of guys throwing for 40 touchdowns. The average Joe quarterback is throwing for 30-something touchdowns a year. Before that was reserved for the elite quarterbacks, throwing at least 30 touchdowns. Now the average quarterback is throwing for 30. The elite is pushing 50. And 5,000 yards is being passed for like it's nothing. Drew Brees, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, even the guy that they just showed for the Saints, a quarterback, Jameis Winston, threw for 5,000 yards a year before they brought in Tom Brady. What the hell are you talking about, Tom? You really on your high horse full of shit. You're either trolling or that was a jab at Bill Belichick. And I'm willing to bet that the majority of that was a jab at Belichick. So that's Tom Brady and his defensive players chasing are like dogs chasing cars comment. I'm gonna come back because I have other topics I wanted to cover. I'm gonna divide this live up, and when I come back, I'm gonna speak about Mike Tomlin, Magic Johnson, and Kazmat Chimaev, the up and coming UFC star. Right on the second half of this live, because between this vaccine, now I'm starting to feel myself sweat. Drinking this iced tea with lemon, you know what I mean, in it. It's starting to, start to do something to me right now. So I think it's because I have the heat on. Maybe that's the reason. But either way, I'm going to come back, break this live up, come back with my next 3 topics. Maybe I'll add a 4th or a 5th. Once again, I want to thank excuse me. Once again, I want to thank Jam Project for debating with me 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, putting a battery in my back to get up here and do this live. I wanted to do something extra for you guys because I didn't go live yesterday. So I definitely will come back with another live. I'll continue this discussion. I want to thank all of you who will watch this and comment, put likes. I appreciate all you guys. I'll see you soon. It's been Rant Roll Sports. I'm out till later in the day when I come back. Peace.